Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my Blackforce experience, a place where we share stories, success stories of Black professionals that have transitioned into the cloud ecosystem from whatever background you're coming from. So today we've invited Abbey to join us and share our story about our Blackforce experience. And again, this is just casual conversation. No, nothing official, nothing professional, just a casual conversation. So don't feel threatened or pressure to feel free to say your mind. And if there's any part you feel like you want to edit or cut out, just let us know. Okay, so please feel free to be original. And I've not asked you these questions before, so feel free, okay? So first of all, let's meet you, right, Abbey? Tell us about yourself. You know, what's your name? What do you do? And your story.
Okay, thank you for having me, Babatok, and thanks everyone for joining today. My name is Abbey Ajagbe, and I work with Accenture Technology. I joined them in April this year. I was working before then as a contractor for General Motors. What else did you say I should say?
Just tell them what you do, pretty much.
Okay, so I am in the Salesforce business group. I work as a functional lead. So I do most work BAs do or business architects do, like process mapping and things like that. I don't really do much of configuration of Salesforce, but I do more of the BA roles there, meeting clients, doing demo POCs and things like that for clients, for them to understand what we will be implementing for them. So that's basically what I do day to day.
Okay. Let's be much descriptive. What did you study in school?
Okay, so I studied business administration and management from the University of Lagos, and I was working as a tax consultant in Nigeria before I moved to Canada in 2018. Oh. When I came here, I tried getting a job in the tax field, audits, but I wasn't getting I wasn't getting anything that caught my fancy. So I started learning business analysis, and I moved into that field.
Okay, that's good. So your background was visa admin, right? That means you have a soft, I would say you do not have a technical background, right?
No, I don't.
So why did you move into Salesforce? What was the catch? What got you into Salesforce? How did you get to know Salesforce?
Okay, so like I mentioned, I was already working as a BA, but I was just a general BA. But I wanted more. I wanted a niche for myself. I wanted a technology that I could say I understood inside and out, right? So I heard about Blackforce training, I think in 2019. Also, I was about to write my IB certification exam for business analysis at that time. I think that was the very first cohort she did. Emilia was there, and at that time, I joined that class, but I couldn't cope. I left that class because it was just a lot for me at that time. And then in 2020, during COVID period, there was this training that I heard about. It was their name is IDF. It's a non-profit that was running that training for Salesforce again, and I tried to join that training. I actually chose Salesforce because I know that it's a very big platform now. Like the growth potential is very high, so I thought, okay, let me try Salesforce. I had so many other options as well at that time, like AWS and all, but I think Salesforce stood out for me in the aspects of how big it was getting and how many companies were using them and all. So I joined that training, but it was a very, very packed training. It was for 1 week, but it was exhausting. I didn't get a lot out of it. At that time, you had started your second training, this Blackforce training, but I didn't join at that time. It was at the end of the Blackforce training that I joined the class. I think you were at the last week of the training. But what I did at that time was I went to the website and I ensured that I watched all the videos, the recordings that was on the page. That gave me a better insight into understanding the Salesforce platform. And then I went to write my certification exam. And that was really the starting point for me.
That's good. Well done. So I know when you're getting into Salesforce, it wasn't easy, right? At some point you had an interview with, was it sick kids or something like that? And you said you did well, but they did not take you. How was the experience actually looking for a job with because during your set, you did not do experience like what we do right now. It's like you train and I throw you guys into the the ecosystem and start looking for a job. So how did you cope with those processes, like little processes you had?
Okay, so I was lucky to be amongst those that had this job training with you. So when we had our own training with Blackforce at that time, I think you chose 10 set of people that moved on to this internship session with you, and I was amongst them. So that really helped me a lot, right? Because at that time, we had hands-on training that working with you was crazy. Like 12 midnight, we have to do something and all of those things. So all those training and the people that I was working with at the internship session and all of that really helped during those interviews. It was really tough for me getting a job that I wanted, partly because I was already working and I was already comfortable where I was, and I was looking for something more. I just didn't want to get any job. I just didn't want to just take anything. I was already very comfortable where I was, right? So trying to understand where I was going to, what exactly I wanted and how to get there. That was the
From what I'm sensing, you feel like I'm better than an entry-level Salesforce job. That's what you're telling me right now. Because based on your experience, you feel like Salesforce entry-level job is not for you. You want to leverage on something. And what I can tell is you had experiences back home and you don't want to just enter the ecosystem with 1 year salary pay or something like that. So exactly. Was it a tough transition for you? Like, how were you able to project your experience? Because I've met with a few people and what they're telling me right now is, I don't want to put my Nigeria experience because I don't want them to know that I've done this, or I'm in medical field, I'm in insurance field. How do you translate? How do you leverage on that experience that you had back home? How do you represent it on your resume?
So I tell people, like, what we had back home is not a waste. Like, we have transferable skills that we can leverage when we are discussing during interviews, right? On my resume, I wrote it there that I worked with the Internal Revenue Service in Nigeria, but there were things that I put there that would make the recruiter that is recruiting me see that, you did gap analysis, like you wanted to understand the current state of where you are too. So those are things that I would say that I did as well, even though I was working as a tax officer, because those things were similar to what I want to achieve here. So I didn't throw away all my experiences. I just had to ensure that I showed them that I had these transferable skills that I will be bringing to the table, and I'm not going to start entry. I'm like, I was there. I worked for over 10 years in Nigeria. I'm not going to throw all of that away. So I was able to, like, during my interview, and explain to them that, I have done this and I've done that. I can bring this as well to the table. I have this much value that I'll be bringing to the table, even though Salesforce is a new area for me, but I still have transferable skills that I would use into implementing whatever it is that I am given here to do. Okay,
that's good. One thing I would say is that obviously BA is a new terminology. It's not something most people are used to. You know, whatever you do in Nigeria, probably you're doing BA. It's just not called BA. It's called something else, right? Yeah. So here they package it and call it something BA, and everyone think is another, it's just a buzzword, right? Exactly. Depending on what you're doing, just use the terminology from BA, put it in your resume, and hopefully that should reflect your experience. Exactly. So Abbey, I want to find out, when you moved to Canada, you say you moved to Canada 2019.
2018.
The job you were doing, okay, was it like satisfying? Was it the kind of job you would like to do? Does it like reflect your level of experience, or how were you able to cope during those periods that you feel like you haven't met your goal for coming? Obviously, everyone has different goals for coming to Canada, but from a career point of view, how were you able to, how were you feeling at that period that you were not doing what you feel like you are maybe satisfied doing? How were you feeling? I want to get that feeling. Then when you get to Salesforce, how did that feeling change? I wanted to know the transition stage, right? You were working with a GM contractor. Maybe it can be in form of pay, it can be in form of everyday activities. How did you feel transitioning into Salesforce after your role at GM?
Okay, so I feel more empowered when I transitioned into Salesforce at Accenture, really, because the void that I had at that time was that I didn't have like a superpower. So I was just going to work and I was just doing something that I know that. So what I tell people is there's a lot of people doing business analysis, for instance. Almost everyone coming in now is, so I want to do BA or things like that. How do I stand out? What do I do to like get to the next level so that when, for instance, because at that time during the COVID period, there were a lot of layoffs around and all. Like if they say who are the people they want to let go, I won't be amongst them. What should I have that is going to be extra? What can I have that would make me stand out? So that's why I started thinking of having a niche technology that I was going to be very good at, and then I will probably be an SME, and then people will always defer to me and like, oh, go and meet Abbey if you want anything Salesforce. So then getting into that career really did it for me, and because Accenture was the company that I liked. I know them while I was still in Nigeria, and it was really like 2 + 2 for me. So yeah.
Okay, let's go into the project you did at Blackforce and the level of training you received at Blackforce. When you got on the job, do you feel that the training was sufficient enough for you to survive on the job? Like when you got on the job, did you see anything different?
Oh yeah, no. So Blackforce training, especially if you get on the internship, I don't think you will need any other thing, like, because you will be doing it like you're going to do it in the real world. Like when we were with Blackforce training, we were going to demo. I was sitting with Babatope on some of client meetings, right? You will demo to the client as well, like what you do in the real world. So it's really like it's like a very good playground for you to step on if you to get into that real world. So the training for me, the internship especially, was the icing on the cake that really helped. And during my interviews, I was able to speak confidently to the interviewers when they were asking me, oh, what did you do? How did you, because I had done it, I was able to explain myself properly. I was able to say things that it wasn't like I was just saying book knowledge. It was now coming from practical knowledge because I had done it before.
Yeah, so good stuff. Well done, Abbey. So now, moving into consulting, there are different levels which you get to, especially when you're working with a big firm like Accenture, right? Consulting is different, not just hands-on. You're not working for Accenture, even though Accenture employed you. You're working for a different company. There was a time you told me that, I said something, I don't think I said the right thing. Do you think this stuff is right? How do you feel? Like, how were you able to feel? How do you cope having to meet with clients and not knowing what to expect? What is consulting to you? Explain to everyone. What does it mean to be a consultant?
So, so it's quite different from coming from the industry. I was in the industry before I moved into consulting, and like I said, the day I called you, I sent you a message. I was in front of the client and I was demoing macros to them, and one of them asked, "Oh, can they like work on another page while the macro is running?" And I said yes. And then someone called me out in the call in front of he sent me a message, and he just called me. He had mentioned me that, "Oh, Abbey, I don't think that's correct." So that was when I quickly sent you a message like, is that true? Blah, blah, blah. And then, so sometimes you will be right in front of the client and they would ask you things that you don't even know the answers to. So what I learned from that was it's okay to tell them that you can come back to it. Like you don't have to tell them, oh yes, Salesforce can do all of it. No. So it's okay if I come back and tell them that, I'll get back to you on that. Because you don't have to know everything. No one knows everything, right? So that was my takeaway from that experience. So consulting, it's more of you being able to be confident in front of a client, being able to explain, because they don't know it. That's why you're there, to explain things to them. So you being able to explain things to them, the things that you yourself don't know, it's okay for you to tell them that you will come back to it. So you get back to them on that.
That's good. And for people that are out there, consulting is a very, very vibrant industry, but you have to be very careful, because they put you there as like, consulting is just putting the blame on someone. If you look at the McKinsey, right, they give you a report and tell you that this stuff is expected to grow by 10x in 5 years. That's what government will make decision based on that report. But at the end of the day, you're just putting the blame on someone. So you don't want to be the person they put blame on at work, okay? So be very careful when you're working as a consultant. It's okay to say you don't know, but make sure that you say it in a professional way that makes you look even smart by saying, oh, I think that's a good question. I can make a research, or I can do further research and get back to you, okay? So be very mindful of saying things when you're a consultant. So Abbey, there was, I know getting a job again is very hard. But one thing we do at Blackforce is try to, encourage you by putting you in front of students, teaching them and letting them understand how things are done. And one of the things we've done really well is the mentorship program. I know you were one of the few people that mentored a few until you got really busy and you blocked the calendar. I know you blocked the calendar right now, but anyways, let's carry on. You were one of the people that got the mentorship, mentors got into the mentorship program that you help other students, right? How has that experience been for you? Because I know that then when you were a mentor, you were still struggling to get a job, right?
Yeah.
And how has that mentorship program helped you to maintain your interest in Salesforce? And what do you think it was very helpful for you to even increase your confidence level while applying for a job or while you got your first job?
Yes, that's correct. So when I think I finished my program around, I think April last year or June, I can't remember. Yeah, and I got a job this year. So it was that long. But while I was at it, while I was still searching for it, wasn't that I wasn't getting recruiters reach out, or I wasn't like getting interviews and all of that, but I just didn't get what I wanted. So what I did at that time was just ensure that I was still maintaining this, because Salesforce, if you're not on the platform, you get to forget so many things, right? So I signed up for the mentorship program, and I had so many people that I were mentoring. I know some of them might be on this platform now, and so I was always there. We discussed. Another thing I did was I had some people that were from the same set that we formed a close bond, and so sometimes we do super batch challenge, sometimes we do trainings by ourselves and things like that. So we are kind of in like a WhatsApp group, and then we just call each other up. I'm like, oh, I have an interview now, or I have this, or can you get on say I'm trailer, let's do this, and things like that. So I was always constantly on the platform so that I don't get to forget while I was still applying till I got what I wanted.
Okay, that's good. Well done, Abbey. Now let's go into when you got the job. Getting a job is hard. Passing an interview is even harder. But once you get the job, you feel relaxed, like I've achieved something. But that's when the challenge comes, right? Because they want to verify your background. They want to make sure that everything you said on your resume is true. And they even went as far back as going to Nigeria to verify that what you've said is true. So you were working full time while you were mentoring at Blackforce and you were doing all that stuff. When they were asking you, what were you doing at Manifest and Company? How were you able to justify that you were working for Manifest and Company while you are still working full time? What did you tell them?
Okay, so I was still with General Motors when I got this interview for Accenture, but on my resume I had Manifest and Company there, that I was working there too. So when the recruiter asked me that, oh, are you working two jobs? I'm like, oh no, we Manifest is a non-profit. That's what I told her, that and I work pro bono for them, and that most times I just work 8 hours per week, and I just help them with implementation.